Hello friends, welcome to the session on Python programming. In this session, we'll be discussing about loop structures in the Python programming language. In this session, we will see what we mean by loop structure in the Python programming language. We will see what are the different statements that are available to execute certain statements repeatedly within the Python program. We will also see how the loops are used, what is the syntax and what is the semantics associated. And we will also see the break and continue statement in the Python programming language. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the channel so that you can watch many other educational videos in the subjects of computer science and electronics by sitting at home only. So let us start the session with the question what we mean by loops in the Python programming language. Friends, we know that whenever we write any program, any Python program, then all the statements in the Python program are executed sequentially. That is, first of all, the first statement is executed, then the second statement is executed, then the third statement is executed, and in this way, all the statements are executed one after the other. But while doing the programming, many times a programming situation may arise when we want certain part of the program to be executed repeatedly. So we do not want that part of the program to be executed only once, but instead we want that part of the program to be executed more than one time. And whenever we want to achieve this, then this can be achieved by using the loop structures in the Python programming language. As far as the Python programming language is concerned, you will find that there are two types of loop structures available, such as for loop and while loop. So let us understand what is the syntax associated with the for loop first. The syntax for the for loop is like this. Initially, you will write the keyword for, then you will make the use of some control variable. Then you can make the use of the keyword in. Then you can write some sequence, or you can write atoms in the range. Then you will put the indentation mark colon, and then you will write the certain statements which will constitute the body of the loop. So as shown in this diagram, initially we will initialize the variable, then we will check for the condition. If the condition is true, then we will execute the for loop body. We will update the expression, and then again we will go for checking of the condition. So for loop is executed for each of the atom in the range. These values can be numeric values, but it is also possible that you can make the use of non-numeric values such as string, list, or tuple. It is also possible that whenever we make some iteration of the loop, then the control variable will check whether the values in the range have been traversed or not. If it is being not traversed, then again the loop will be executed. If all the values are exhausted, or all the items in the range are exhausted, then the statements within the loop are not executed, and then the control will be transferred to the statement immediately following the for loop. So whenever all the values in the range are executed or exhausted, then the control is being transferred to the next statement. So these are certain simple examples for the for loop in the Python program. Now suppose we will set the counter, and it is a list consisting of 5 values, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Now when I write a for loop for number in count, and then I will put colon, and then I will print number. So when you execute this part of the program, then you will find that the values will be printed on the screen are 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. The loop can be written like this also. Suppose I have been given a list of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And if I write the for loop for number NUM in numbers colon, then I will put the condition if number is divisible by 2, that is the modulus of division by 2 is equal to 0, then print the number is an even number. And therefore you will find that when this part of the program is executed by the Python interpreter, then on the screen I will get the message 2 is an even number, 4 is an even number, 6 is an even number, 8 is an even number, and 10 is an even number. So all the even numbers in the given list will be printed on the screen. So far we have not discussed what we mean by the functions in the Python programming language. But at this stage, let us understand this function, which is very useful for the for loop. And this function is called as the range function. So range function is written like this. We will write the keyword range. In the bracket, we will mention the start, comma, stop, comma, step, out of which start is optional and step is also optional. So this function is used to create a list containing a sequence of integers from the given start value up to the stop value. Of course, it will exclude the stop value. And the difference is the given step value. So as shown in this syntax, the start and the step parameters are the optional. If the start is not specified, by default, the list will start from 0. And if the step is not specified, by default, the step value will be 1. So every time the step value will be increased by 1. All parameters of the range function must be integers. The step parameter can be positive or negative integer, but it should not be equal to 0. So if you want to make the use of range, then one can write a for loop by using range like this for number in range 5 colon. If number is greater than 0 colon, print number into 10. So one can easily find that at the output, we will get the values 10, 20, 30, and 40. So the 5 value will not be printed, that is 5 into 10 will not be printed on the screen. Another loop that is also very popular in the Python programming is called as the while loop. And the syntax for writing the while loop is while test condition colon, and then we will write the body of the while loop. The while loop statement executes the block of the code repeatedly as long as the control condition of the loop is true. So as long as the control condition or test expression is true, the body of the loop is executed. As soon as it becomes false, then the control will be transferred outside the loop. So after each iteration, the control condition is tested again, and the loop continues as long as the condition remains true. When the condition becomes false, then the statements in the body of the loop are not executed, and the control is being transferred to the statement immediately following the body of the while loop. So while loop is something like this. If the test condition itself is false in the first attempt itself, then the body of the loop may not be executed at all. So if the condition of the while loop is initially false, then the body of the loop will not be executed even once. And the statements within the body of the loop must ensure that the condition eventually becomes false. So we should make some arrangement within the body of the loop in such a way that the condition should become false at certain point of time. Otherwise, the loop becomes an infinite loop. So when the loop becomes an infinite loop, then it will lead to the logical error in the program. So for example, suppose count is equal to 1, and we can set the while loop like this: while count is less than or equal to 5 colon, print count, and count plus equal to 1. So when such part of the program is executed by the Python interpreter, then on the screen, I will get the values 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the screen. So 5 times the loop will be executed and the count value will be printed on the screen. While we make the use of loop control statements in the Python program, many times it is necessary to make the use of break and continue statements in the Python program. The break statement alters the normal flow of the execution as it terminates the current loop and resumes execution of the statement following that loop. So whenever normally the loop is executing, and if you do not want the loop to be executed again, so if you want to break abnormally outside the loop, then you can make the use of the break statement. While continue statement, when it is encountered, the control skips the execution of the remaining statements inside the body of the loop for the current iteration and jumps to the beginning of the loop for the next iteration. So if the loop's condition is still true, then the loop is entered again, else the control is transferred to the statement immediately following the loop. So for example, if I write a part of the code such as the number is equal to 0 for number in the range 6 colon, number is equal to number plus 1, if number becomes equal to 3 colon, continue, print number has the value plus string number and print end of the loop. So when this part of the program is executed, then you will find that you will get the message number has value 1, number has value 2. Now, only for number 3, what we are doing is that we are continuing and therefore this message will not be printed. Number has value 4 will be printed because the condition is still true. Number has value 5, number has value 6, and then finally we will come to an end. So one can easily observe that we have excluded the display of 3 number on the screen by using this continue statement. It is also possible that you can use a loop within a loop. So whenever a loop is used inside a loop, then that is being called as the nesting of the loop. Python does not impose any restriction on how many loops can be nested inside the loop or on the levels of the nesting. So you can have as many levels as being required by the programmer. So any type of the loop, say for example, we can nest the for loop, or we can nest the while loop, or we can nest a while loop within a for loop, or a for loop within a while loop. So that is possible. So for example, if I write a code for I in the range 4 colon, for j in the range 4 colon, if j is equal to I colon, break, print I colon j. So when this part of the program is being executed, one can easily observe that we will get the message on the screen 10, 20, 21, 30, 31, and 32 on the screen. So thank you friends for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood how to write loops in the Python programming language and what is the syntax associated and what is the semantics associated for these loops. Thank you all for viewing the session.